All right, we are live. Sorry, I'm getting everything ready. I'm running a little late. Everybody has to forgive me. It's been a day. It's been a day, a day, a day. Okay, forgive the delay. Uh, was running a little late and now actually have um, some really good news for everybody, to be honest with you. Something I'm pretty excited about. Uh, Let me just go into all of my settings. Sorry, guys. I know I'm a little frazzled, but I'm also really excited. Um, what do I have here? Welcome, everybody, to the Daily Sigh. This is Wednesday, March 25th. And what a day it's been. This is your Daily Sigh of Relief. I go live every single day and share all of the updates across as many levels of analysis as I can fit into about 15 minutes, AI markets, platforms, and policies, and try to keep you up to date. If you are an entrepreneur who's been overwhelmed by everything that has been going on, then you're in good company because so have I been. So am I. So too am I have also been. I'm doing my best, guys. Let's dive into the news. How about that? Our first story, leading story, Salesforce. Nope, that's the wrong one. That was yesterday. Can you tell how frazzled I am? Trump administration releases national AI legislative framework. This is worth paying attention to. This is actually a big deal, and it's going to cause a lot of problems if people do this the wrong way. Uh, the framework calls for federal preemption of conflicting state laws. Thank God. This significantly lowers regulatory fragmentation risk for entrepreneurs operating AI-heavy businesses across state lines. It explicitly avoids creating a new federal regulator, quote, which I actually think is probably consistent with this regime, more or less. And I wonder whether or not they're really able to hold to that. Fingers crossed that we don't have to deal with another regulatory body. But to be honest with you, I don't see how that's possible. That's something I'd really like to talk to the councils about, as a matter of fact. How do we avoid having like the Department of AI? Because there's nothing that currently exists that that's going to be adequate, and yet bureaucracy is just the death of all progress. So it'll be really interesting to see what the government does. Um, More interesting is this move really feels like it leans in the direction of opening things up, speeding them up, not slowing them down. So that would be my hope, my very strong hope. Our second story, MasterCard launches virtual CFO for small firms. MasterCard is rolling out AI agents designed to augment executive functions in finance, security, and marketing. This allows lean teams to maintain high financial rigor without overhead of a full-time senior hire. Y'all, this is, again, it's just crazy. It's crazy to see what used to be kind of a nuts and bolts infrastructure vendor providing a service that wipes out entire departments. Like it's so interesting, and it's going to be a continued theme. You know, the fact that Mastercard is now becoming potentially an SMB's CFO, that's significant because there are other MasterCards out there across every other potential category too, which is really, really interesting. From Google, Google March 2026 spam update hits global search. The update targets search spam across all languages. Business dependent on organic traffic must immediately audit for, quote, thin AI content or face massive traffic drops. Here's the thing about Google traffic that Google has never really been willing to admit. The majority of Google traffic is bot traffic or spam traffic or somehow evil or pernicious traffic. And that incidentally is demonstrable. There was an NYU study that came out and proved this, and then they just buried the daylights out of it, and they can do that because they're Google. So you can find that NYU study, by the way. It's just on page 5. Um, It'll be really interesting to see how Google plays this game. The deeper pattern here is the arm race between AI content generation and search engine quality control is accelerating. Google going after AI, sure, we'll see. From Apple, Apple Business launches all-in-one platform. I don't know what this means. I don't know what this means. Apple is bundling MDM, business email, custom domains, and local customer reach tools into a single platform. So how they're going to execute on this, what they're going to do, it feels a little bit like an Apple G Suite product, to be honest with you. It feels like Apple is moving in that direction, and at the same time, they're so far behind. I just wonder if that's going to be something that proves to have any level of efficacy. Congress reauthorizes the research and development programs, massive for small business. If you're not playing the R&D game, you number one should. If you are playing the R&D game, all of that is tax deductible, which is really, really cool. This continued government R&D funding for high-tech small businesses. And obviously they need to do that because we're falling behind in a lot of areas along a lot of levels of analysis. Some sub stories quick before I turn to the council. Anthropic rolls out cloud computer use. That's cool. Um, New agentic tool allows cloud to perform browser-based automations reliably. We've been able to do this sort of with some of the Chrome plugins, but this, coming native is super, super cool. If you're not playing with Claude Cowork, Claude Code, Claude, what's the little handy dandy thing called on my phone? I'm forgetting now. Everybody on the council taught me. Hold on. Dispatch. It's amazing. Thank you, Grant. Y'all, Anthropic is leading the charge in big, big ways. And oh, this is interesting. Okay, so one of the sub stories here on my document, Naval Ravikant on AI coding agents in the App Store. Naval argues that AI coding agents shipping apps straight to phones marks the end of iPhone dominance. Why this matters. He urges founders to make their own app store and deliver value without traditional disruption gatekeepers. Very last story. U.S. startup funding plunges to $13 billion in March. Capital access is tightening for growth stage companies after record AI mega rounds earlier this year. Those are our sub stories. Now, if you're watching this live, you can always come join us. Go to dailysigh.ai, sign up for the Free Forever community, join the Zoom link. We're just a bunch of entrepreneurs and business owners who are trying to stay ahead. And I have quite the surprise, y'all. I'm so excited. It's also why I'm so frazzled. If you're like, what the hell is wrong with Qasim? I was on a phone call right before this. Is why I was late launching it. With a guy that I just love to death, dearly, deeply, who's freaking brilliant. One of the most successful people I know personally. And as I'm hanging up, I'm like, dude, I'm so sorry I got a jet. I have this live. He offered to jump on with us. So I've brought my friend to the daily live. He's here. I don't know for how long. I don't know how long he's going to want to stick around. But he's willing and able to maybe chop it up with us, answer some questions. So, Council, I've re-enabled y'all's features. Do you guys see that? Participants can now unmute themselves, start their video. We've got Elliot, Brandon, Grant, Jason, Christopher. Thanks for being here again. Clinton, Christine Marie, Jacob, Dylan. And for those of y'all that don't know him, my buddy Kamal Ravikant, who is a freaking legend across every level of analysis. His book, by the way, he wrote a book called Love Yourself. I mean, he wrote a lot of books, but he wrote a book called Love Yourself Like Your Life Depends on It. He wrote a book called Rebirth, which I'm ashamed to say I still haven't gotten through. He was in the U.S. Army. He sends me videos of himself going through like these John Wick style ranges. He trains with all these nut jobs out in, freaking crazy military special forces style, whatever. Wildly successful angel investor, was in Silicon Valley doing startups. Um, and more to the point, and I'm just going to pander like a freaking whatever because I believe it, dude. It's, Dale Carnegie says you can offer praise as long as it's sincere. Kind, humble, generous, giving. He's just a phenomenal, phenomenal human. And I didn't know he was coming today. So I'm so excited. Kamal, thanks for being here, brother. Really appreciate you.
Oh, my pleasure, man. I I don't know how to live up to intro like that, but I'll do my best.
Oh, bro, you'll crush it. Honestly, if you just tell everybody some of the stuff you tell me, it's so weird because like Kamal, 18 months before it happened, told me I'm pulling out of software. He's like, I'm pulling out of, I don't even know, actually, shoot, am I even allowed to say this?
Yeah,
And
you
he's
can
just,
share
yeah.
anything.
So letting all the cats out of the bag. He was like, I'm pulling out of software because of this, because this, because this, because this. And then like 180 days later, I start noticing that all the pitch book guys start saying the same thing. And now it's like death to software and the whole. But dude, how do you? That's a question I have for you. And then we're gonna allow the council to ask some questions too. How do you go about seeing things the way that you do? Because you really do have this extraordinary vision. Like the way you think about stuff is so unique. So I'd love to know, like, I mean, it's not just magic, right? There's frameworks to it. How would you teach that skill?
Dude, it's a skill of listening. I talk to, I'm lucky at
Mm.
my job in investing and some of the very top founders out there. I talk to them and I listen. Some of the best VCs out there, very close with me. And we talk and we listen. We just share notes and you start to see patterns emerge. And then you obviously, I do my own diligence and I read and keep on top of things. But that's all it is. You just you talk to the smartest people you know and look for the patterns.
Yeah, and
Yeah, I didn't come up with that on my own. It was just by talking to people and noticing more and more smart people starting to think this way. And then based on that, doing my own research. I'm like, yeah, they're right. They're right. Like, like this was like a year ago. It was like, well, if I invest in a software company, it'll probably be a feature in Anthropic a month later, or Replit or OpenAI, one of those. So you start to realize, okay, now most of these companies being launched are just basically going to be features in
Mm.
on the AI platform. So there goes, why invest in this company? You can't even bet if it'll be relevant in 6 months from now. That was the beginning, and now it's to the point where, as I was telling you, like we're not investing in software. Like more, it's got to have like a hardware mode, a real world mode. It's got to have, or it's got to be foundational AI. Like I'm still investing in like, you know, like I invested in Replit, right, which is a foundational company in AI. So I'm looking for stuff like that, but more hardware. And it's like I think soon AI is going to be like saying, if you say I have an AI enabled this, but I will be like saying I have an HTTPS web page.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, it's kind of redundant, right? It's no, that AI is just gonna be, it's gonna. I mean, I don't even know if your kids are not gonna be using search. Think about this. They're gonna be using just talking to AI.
Mm.
Or AI at that point will be so well trained on, AI will just be telling them based on contextual awareness what they need to know.
Yeah, I remember, I think it was Peter Diamandis who was talking about the screenless future. He said if you cascade far enough into the future, why would we need screens unless there's I'm like, you go to watch a movie, but there'd be no reason for you to have an interface because AI is going to be ubiquitous.
I mean, why do we need an app store if it could just be one app, which is
Yeah.
your phone?
So, but I want to open it up to the council to ask you some questions if you're comfortable with that. But first, here's the problem, dude. And this pisses me off on your behalf. All of the questions you're going to get are about technology and investing or whatever. And I want to, before we do that, and I know we all want to do that, I want to talk to you about something that I think is more important. Dude, for somebody who's so successful and so smart on the let's say the left brain level of analysis, you're so spiritually grounded. Like the books you wrote, and Brandon just went and bought Love
Yeah,
Yourself
I
Like Your
saw
Life
that.
Depends
I
on It.
saw that. Thank you.
You talked to me about like Edward Art, the beliefs that you had, like how that's unusual. Like, people who are good at business and building and investing and shit, like that's not uncommon. But for somebody to be what feels to me demonstrably articulate a level of demonstrable prowess in both. That's extraordinarily unusual, and I think that's one of the things I love the most about you. So if you don't mind, talk a little bit
Mhm.
about that because people don't like talking about it. You even told me once, you were like, dude, I thought I was going to ruin my career in Silicon Valley when I published my books,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah,
did it
yeah, yeah.
anyway. So talk to me about that
Yeah.
balance.
Well, I mean, look, I've always been some sort of seeker of sort. I, you know, want to figure out the nature of reality. Like, and so that's just always been my own personal journey. And then, I've been through some real stuff in life, and that kind of makes you just like think deeply. Like I've almost died, and all that stuff, like in a hospital, basically dead, all that stuff. So you kind of think deeply, and you have some experiences that make you realize, this show isn't what it seems what it is. And you
Mm,
start like, hey, I want to understand it better, and just for myself. And then obviously what I learned, I've ended up sharing in my books. And like I said, I thought I'd be a laughing stock. Instead, you'd be amazed how many founders come out, reach out to me, or people invest in my funds or because they read my books and they're like, I know the man you are, and I want to be involved, do something with you. It's yeah, those are two very different sides to me. But in the end, everything, if you're investing, is especially early stage, it's a people game. And so the more you can be honest about who you are, what you believe in, and just who you are and what you stand for, the more people are drawn to it. Yeah.
mm. I love that.
Or the wrong people are actually, I mean, and some people are actually repelled by it, which is great.
Yeah,
Saves you a lot of pain down the road.
yeah. Attract and repel. I'm gonna drop a link in the chat here. This is Kamal's book. If you have the opportunity, read the reviews. Because I've done that, dude. I'm sure I don't know how much time you spent on it, man, but God, it's something to be proud of. It's just nonstop, life-changing book. Helped me through so much, saved my life. Like, what an impact you've made, dude. So anyway, I
Thank you,
hope I
man.
haven't embarrassed you,
Thank you.
dude. I really
No, I'm,
appreciate
I'm
you
very
sharing.
touched. I'm very touched. I,
Yeah,
I
you're
kind of
awesome, man.
forget about all this stuff. I really do. I'm still like working, just living just my day to day, trying to do the best I can.
Yeah, I know that about. I know you think you're a normal guy, dude. I get that sense from you, and it's so funny to me. All right, I'm fanboying a little too hard. Let's turn it to the council. For the council, my ask is let's honor Kamal's time and and maybe be pointed and succinct with our questions, if that's possible. Who's got a question for Kamal? Feel free to throw
Yeah,
your
and
hand up.
and
Jason?
whoever. ask me a question, if you don't mind, I'd love to know a little bit about you, just so I understand who I'm talking to.
Love that.
Oh yeah, I just wanted to bring up that I think I came into your ecosystem that way. Books first. I'm friends with Dawn Casey Rowe. Uh, know her really well. So that was almost my first awareness, of you and finding that book. I mean, this morning I was, if you've read the book, you'll know, like I'm looking in the mirror and
Oh, awesome.
saying I
Awesome.
love you. You know what I mean? Like that has stuck with me all these years. Look at me, like all embarrassed from it, but it's something that's changed my core. So yeah, I love the work that you're doing and
Thank
appreciate
you.
all that. And that's
Thank you
that's
very much.
most of what I need to say. Just as that, and I'm glad Qasim really like grabbed that aspect of you because that's the meaty, that's the rich stuff. That's beyond the, oh, he invested in this and tech and all of that. So fantastic. Good to talk to
Thanks, Jason.
you.
Really appreciate it, man. Really did.
Absolutely.
I love that a lot, Jason. Thanks for that, dude. Elliot, you got your hand up?
Hey man, thanks a lot for coming on today.
Yeah.
What a
Thank you
nice
for having me.
surprise. Um, I have to be honest, I don't really engage with much of your business stuff at all, but I do really like the dog posting on Twitter. So
Yeah.
I specifically remember I saw one of those pictures when my own dog had passed away a few years ago, and it was just
Oh
nice.
man.
So yeah. But my question actually, I wanted to ask, just for background, I'm doing some fintech stuff with Matthias Gronenberg, which is one of the co-founders of Ethereum. He did the utility token and stuff, and I'm also involved in figuring out the big problems with power in the US, power infrastructure, and trying to figure out smart ways to get around those huge issues with like the utilities and timelines with that. But I saw Clinton's question in the chat, and I really actually just wanted to harp on that a bit because you're so focused on thinking forwards. Where do you see in software are the opportunities outside of AI? Like where AI will struggle for a extended. I think just my perspective is it will get there eventually, right? But there may be a time where there's still, regulation software, like highly regulated industries. I just would love to get your thoughts on that. Thank you.
Um, yeah, that's a great question from you and Clinton. I think the best modes are the one where software is actually either bound by business relationships and contracts, like like the 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 big four and the Ogilvies of the world are not going to go down to that kicking and screaming, and they have the relationships with corporate and all that. Just same thing with any software that is just so entwined with businesses that becomes that's just that it's like painful for them to remove it because if you're in a business, you don't lose your job for canceling a contract. You lose your. It's like you lose your job for like not having the right, like maybe made a wrong contract. So uh, stuff like that, where there's a moat of relationships or use already existing use, like deep into their network. That's one, but that's a ticking bomb. Eventually, that's going to be. It's just going to be like, look, yeah, you can continue paying those, for each seat, while your competitor is just doing that for $40 a month, and you're paying $1,000 a seat for a 10,000 people company. So eventually, it'll just be that decision. Another is software tied to hardware or to the real world. But that's actually being taken over by AI very easily. And I'm watching this trend of more and more. I think someone's even trying to start a fund with it, which is very cool. Of people who are in the trades, right? Plumbers, electricians, and like just the HVAC companies and all these started to use AI software, building platforms to just make efficient. What does technology do? It makes things more efficient to
Mm.
make it way more efficient. And I think that's more like AI enabled software, which is not answering your question, but like I think that's a really interesting opportunity right now. You take like something that's off world, old school, and you build like a software layer for it using AI, and that actually will now you're in these. But you're in the small businesses, they're less likely to leave if they just pay $50 a month and it's solving their problems. I think that's actually opportunity. Um, but as far as like non-AI software, man, like I don't know if I can answer that properly because I'm more focused on what's happening overall, right? So like, let's see what I can I invest in, and I can't think of um, any non-AI software that I would invest in right now coming out of the gate, unless it had some sort of real world component to it attached that just makes it more the real world part more efficient and way more valuable. I'm seeing a few things like that right now, which are pretty interesting. Um,
That's so
so
profound. Like one of the smartest investor I know just said, I can't think of a single non-AI software I'd invest. Like that's a big deal. What a shift. Because that used to be the belle of the ball. And now, I mean, wow, just a pendulum swing. It's crazy.
it would have to be something remarkable, like a remarkable. But I would be like, why aren't you using AI? Like, what are you doing that's not going to be AI? That AI can't be not for Claude. Their code is writing everything. AI is writing their code. It's just
Yeah.
writing Claude. Like it's like so. Like even the best company, the ones making this stuff, as using AI to write what you use to write your software.
Yeah,
I have
so
a friend.
if sorry, if I could just add one point to that question. The reason I ask and was so intrigued by Clinton's question is because we operate in, highly regulated securities trading infrastructure. And we know everyone knows the banks. How often do they trade their
Yeah, yeah,
infrastructure?
yeah,
So that's really what I'm thinking about when I
yeah,
ask that. But yeah.
yeah. That's a great question. It's like I said, those places where there's the relationships, there's the lock in, but that's a ticking time bomb.
Mm,
You know, that's not going to be around for forever because eventually, what even be the regulations? It'll be that your competitors figured out how to cut their costs down from seven figures a year to $40 a year. I mean, like, if you're a leader, what are you going to do? Uh, so I think the market will take care of that. But these will go away slower. Yes, if you have the regulations, or if you have which is why I think like if you have an offline component, especially if it's a network of small businesses, that'll be harder to move. Um, yeah, but I hope that answered it. It's not a full answer.
No, thank you. It's great to get your opinion. Thank you.
yeah, that was awesome, dude. Brandon, you got your hand up, and then Dylan's next.
Hey, yep, I ordered your two books right when he
Thank you,
the names of them. I honored that you're here. It kind of
thank
spoke
you.
to the part where it says, love yourself like your life depends upon it. Jason was talking about it. I think I had to go through my own dark night of the soul. I've worked with the plant medicines for probably over 25 years or so. And my partner works with them too and works with veterans and PTSD.
Great, great.
And I think that like outside of what's happening in AI itself, there's still going to be that kind of component as far as
Hmm.
men, women that are kind of going through this transformation, no matter what happens in AI and in the real world, you're going to have AI is not going to take over that space, holding space for another person, helping them love themselves, recognize who they are and having to love themselves like their life depends upon it. I mean, just in
Mm,
the title itself and in the message that I hear from the reviews that I was just kind of scanning through while you've been here, it's timeless and it's needed. And I know that that's still a component that's going to be a part of my life. I have a marketing agency I run as a ghost behind the machine. I'm learning AI. I'm not as fast as everybody else. I see the writing on the wall, but I still know that we get to host people that make an impact on the real, the heart of the
Hmm.
soul and the
Hmm.
transformation of what happens. And I think that's totally necessary. And I just wanted to thank you for being here and sharing and allowing me to order these books and popping up today.
Yeah, and thank you for the work you're doing with the veterans. I'm a big fan of using that applied medicine for veterans with PTSD. It's so effective. And I have enough friends who've been to war that could benefit from that. And it's just not still there's a stigma against it and it's not understood enough and the legalities. But
Hmm.
I think anything that helps and this stuff works. I think anything
Yeah.
that helps our veterans, I'm a big fan of.
My partner's a lobbyist, and she just was at the Capitol today, and they just passed one of the rounds, the third round of passing it for legalization. And so she works with governors and senators and all types of people to pass it from the legal aspect. And there's multiple layers you're going to have to go to. Obviously, it's outside of the United States. It's obviously more legal or accessible than here, but that's what they're working for. And so it'll get there, but she's super excited, and we're excited for the ability to make the impact. I get to see it. I've seen it for 25 years on the impact that it makes for people and the transformation. And I mean, I don't think any of us would have the iPhone or the Mac if Steve Jobs didn't go down his journey either.
Mm.
So,
Yeah.
you know,
Agreed. Agreed.
yeah, yeah.
No, thank you for the work you're doing.
Thank you.
Jobs
Appreciate you.
said that. He said that LSD was the most important thing he ever did for himself. Which
Did
take
he?
that,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
take it for whatever it's worth. And by the way, if you're watching us live, you can join us in the Zoom room. Go to dailysigh.ai. We have a very special guest, Kamal Ravikant. Dylan, you're up, buddy.
Given the rapid rate of change recently, we've been discussing principles that won't change or
Mm.
antiquated ideas which will become fresh again. You know, what's old is new again. Given your unique perspective, um, are there any principles that you don't see changing as AI continues to spread, or old ideas that will become relevant again, either in business or personal?
Can you give me an example of what you mean by a principle?
Uh, Cossum has been making documents of like human nature, sort of like
I can
trying
share
to
them.
explain to AI the which I mean it knows a lot about, but like consolidating human behavior, marketing, like psychology and things. Um,
You know, and as an aside to that, the more AI becomes prevalent in our daily lives, and more it becomes impossible to distinguish it, the more actually real human connection is going to be valuable. Like just like Brandon was saying.
Yeah.
So if you can connect in a way in any business in a human sort of way, like these days, who picks up a phone call and calls someone, right, and emails them, right? Like now extrapolate that further, with AI just doing, my AI is talking to your AI, but what if I call you? Just standing out as a human being, will actually, and online, standing out as a human being who's not just throwing out the usual same stuff that everyone's talking about, is going to make you stand out and will work great.
You
So I
know
think
who's
as a
been
principle, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Christine Marie's on this call, and she, for as long as I've known her, um, I mean, at least for 4 years, has been talking about in person. And when she first started saying it, I was really dismissive of it because I was like, well, that's not scalable. But she kept talking about how people miss being in person and being together and going to events. And she hosts these really small, really intimate events. And for the first half of my experience, I thought like, gosh, this is so expensive. It takes so much time. You can't replicate it. When it's done, it's done. And then I realized I'm like, oh, all those things are why it's valuable. Like that's what makes it, you know,
Mhm.
it was and now I see it, and I'm starting to see more and more people sort of tip in her direction. Like all the stuff that you just said, dude, the stuff that you can't scale, digitize, fake, like phone calls, in-person events, shaking hands and kissing babies. And it's interesting.
It's going to be more valuable.
Yeah. Yeah. When we were on the phone, we said like what's old is new again. So, dude, I absolutely
Yeah.
agree with you. I didn't mean to grab the mic. I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. That put it perfectly.
Jacob, you got your hand up?
Oh, you called me daydreaming. I was thinking about everything. Trying to process it all in. Kamal, my name is Jacob. I am a film student here at Arizona State University in an industry that's not changing much at all. I'm kidding, it's changing like crazy. What I'm wondering is, you talk about all this stuff. What time frame do you think on? Do you think on 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20
Mm.
years? What's the timeline that you're thinking of?
Dude, the rate technology is changing now. If I'm thinking 5 years, I'm a Nostradamus. Like literally, like 5 years, I have no idea. Zero idea. All I
Really?
can do is what's next 6 months.
Wow.
Really?
And yeah,
Wow.
5 years, it used to be, yeah, you could extrapolate out, but because of AI, you just have, and the insane speed that it's evolving and transforming. And I'm not talking about AGI. I think we're far away from AGI. And like consciousness is not, just because it can talk doesn't mean it's conscious,
Sure.
right? Just because it can quack like a duck or whatever doesn't mean it's a duck, right? And that's what a lot of people confuse it with. but as just AI itself, like, dude, by next year, you should be able to make a full feature length film just from talking to your AI and just iterating you alone.
Mm.
Right,
What would it
right.
cost a Hollywood studio hundreds of millions? And a buddy of mine, he's one of the top guys in Hollywood, and I don't say that lightly. Like he was a second command of one of the biggest studios out there, and then he left, and now he's running what the biggest help is a second command of the biggest special effects studio. He's like, yeah, my current company's not going to exist in like 5 years.
Sure.
Wow.
And this is like the one that does all the special effects for Spider-Man, you name it, all the big movies, they do it.
Right. It's very
And he's like,
expensive.
yeah, well, it
Very,
won't be.
yeah.
It won't be. It won't
Yeah.
be. And you know what I was thinking about this? Like this time is going to be one of the greatest times in history for creatives. Because in the past, you needed to be part of a system, be accepted in the system, work your way up, and to make your vision a reality. And all these hundreds of people and a lot of money. You'll be able to sit in front of your Mac Neo, your $700 MacBook Neo, right? And be able to make a year from now, if not sooner, a full length. You want to be able to, like, to the point, it's like almost undistinguishable from real life, a full on movies at a time or make
Right.
shorts. And so, as a creative for you, this is remarkable.
Mm.
Yeah.
And you can, and using YouTube and so forth, whatever, you get it directly to an audience. Like, so distribution is solved for you. As long as quality, you can actually like, you don't need to now have the movie theater connections and go meet the distributors and bribe whoever you got to bribe, right? You just
Yeah.
literally go to the platforms and put it on there. It's remarkable. It is incredible time for a creative.
So because I could talk about the movie stuff a lot here. But if you're doing 6 month time frame, how are you keeping up with that? Like are you racing against other people? Are you like what's your mindset on doing because 6 months is a fast churn rate. I mean, things are changing so fast.
Well, my job is betting on some of the smartest people in the world to figure out the future, to build the future.
Mm.
So
Okay.
they're in like, but even their timeline's gotten scrunched. It used to take like 9, 10 years to build $1 billion company. Now you could probably boot way faster, way simpler with a much smaller team. What used to be your number one engineer can now be replicated 50x with one engineer,
Dude, can I ask you a
right?
question about that though?
Mhm.
Here's what it occurs to me, and I realize this is, Machiavellian in thinking, and I feel like maybe it's human nature. If I had the ability to produce gold from thin air, I wouldn't license it to people for $20 a month. Do you think these companies are holding the good stuff back? You know what I mean? Like if they have AGI, ASI, whatever, or even not there yet, why would they give it to us outside of I understand the need to iterate, but do you think that they're holding like the best of the best kind of behind an iron curtain?
There's different models out there now. You talk about the Chinese as well, and they come out with so many great models, and then there's many companies in the U.S. So okay, one's holding it, but the other one's going to catch up really fast.
Mm,
It might end up being almost like a commodity business at some point. They're all basically reached like they're all on par, and
yeah.
now you just basically choose your. And there's only going to be a few ones. Um, so maybe they're holding back. Um, I mean, if you're a company, you had competitive advantage by holding something back, you would do it. But I don't really care because eventually someone else is going to come up with it and release it.
Yeah, that's the risk of
If
holding
they're,
it back is that somebody's going
yeah,
to leapfrog you.
yeah, someone
Yeah.
be, yeah, yeah, yeah. And then when you have it out there, you have so many people using it, which makes it grow in ways it never could if you just keep it internally, right?
Yeah.
Because AI improves with usage. It takes in what it's doing. You know, all those millions of users are training models, for the AI. So you want that.
Yeah. Gosh, what a really interesting way to think about that. Training models. Are you generally speaking optimistic about AI in the future?
I mean, look, I think it's going to be, well, it depends. I think there's going to be some growing pains. There's going to be some really rough societal growing pains. Um, I spent like early in my career, I consulted for Fortune 100s and Fortune 50s. And I sat in those cubicles, and had all those meetings. And it was like, you think about it, a lot of white collar work is meetings and just CYA and like very little gets done, making presentations, this, that. and what does technology do? Technology makes things efficient. I think a lot of white collar work is going to disappear.
Mm.
So all these people who went to college and had the degrees and I thought they were set for life are in for a rude awakening. And if you don't do it, your comparator will, so you'll have to do it. You know, let's see, Jack Dorsey did that with what was it? Block recently laid off, I think a quarter of his workforce or something like that.
Yep.
But although I will say, Jack Dorsey builds bloated companies too. So I think he does. Look at all his companies. Look at when Elon came on X, Twitter, right? He fired most of the team and they've been functioning on just fine.
Right.
So I think a lot of CEOs are going to use AI as an excuse to let go off the driftwood. Just like a lot of people use COVID as an excuse for that.
Yeah.
I'm not saying the morality of it. I'm just saying stating facts, right? And then so I think AI overall is going to be incredible for humanity. Like, talk about medical research. Talk about finding cures for things. AI is gonna find the cures. It's
Mm.
gonna do drug modeling in a way that was never possible. It's gonna allow us to like create machines and like have futuristic lives in a way we never imagined. It's gonna be so woven into our daily fabric of society. But in the meantime, that a lot of the but when you talk about corporations, business, a lot of white collar work is going to disappear. It's no longer going to be okay. You got laid off from Xerox, so you can go to Kodak and work there. Kodak's doing the same thing. Those positions don't exist anymore. Um, so that's going to happen. And there's going to be some upheaval. And I don't know. I'm glad I'm not a running the government to figure that out.
Same.
To figure out what to do there. There will need to be maybe some sort of social, I don't know, depending on some social safety net. Because, a lot of these people are not going to go then start, you want to make money right now, go be an electrician. Go do where your hands are required, where your skill is required. Seriously, electricians are making more than lawyers.
Yeah.
And that's not going to be built. And AI, even Optimus Rover is not going to come and install like a Tesla charger in my garage. It's going to be some dude who knows how to do it. So some people will evolve and go more towards the trades and all that. But I don't know what's going to happen to a lot of the people who are going to get laid off from white collar work. Because, a lot of it's just useless paper shuffling. Right. And the little part of it that's useful, it needs to be automated. So there is going to be some interesting societal stuff that I do not know how that's going to play out. Hopefully it plays out well.
Jacob, you have your hand up again?
And there's just so much to think about there. I'm like trying to stay focused and I'm catching myself daydreaming about all this stuff that you're saying. It's like it's incredible. But I just want to hold on to this real quick. You said that you said that you're looking for people. So you're placing your bets on people, right? You're not so much looking at the math and the statistics and the probability and the trends. You're looking at the people. Is that right?
Oh, you talk about the founders that invested?
Yeah, like you're thinking in a 6 month timeline, and then in the
Well, the
six
6 months is
months.
that okay, but the 6 month was like if how I'm looking forward to predicting the future.
Okay,
And I don't even know if I can predict the future a month from now, given with AI, right? So 6 months was being actually generous.
got
But
it.
as far as founders go, like, look, okay, you see, okay, AI is here. Where's the next place it needs to go? And you find a great founder who's building that, you bet on them,
Got it.
right? That's what you do, and it's up to them to figure out, right? And they obviously have to be great founders and have like a great team. And man, these days, one company I'm on the board of, the founder was telling me like they lost one of the engineers to a regular startup who knows a little bit of AI. It's not an AI startup, and it's like his starting salary was 900 grand. How do you compete against that? Like everyone wants people who are good with AI.
Mm.
That in the short term, you want to make wealth. Just this is what you do, right? You become the person who understands AI, and then you're worth 10, 20 employees.
Yeah.
Or build stuff that you sell to small businesses, the small, as you said, like the small SaaS businesses. Like there's a lot happening in the trades, and just like people who never touched a computer before, right? With just a plumber, electrician, now building the tools to like really make things more efficient, to expand. Stuff that they would have had to buy and they wouldn't think about it. Like no salesperson goes to them and does it. They're like, oh, I'm just gonna build it for myself. Which is how all great things are start anyway. If you build it for yourself,
Right.
then you build it for your friends, and then all of a sudden other people are paying you.
Yeah. I hope I'm not beating on that too much. I'm just really curious because it sounds like you're placing your bets on people more than you are things, if that makes sense.
You always place your bets on people. People are I mean, you invest in a startup.
Right.
You're betting on the founder. My best performing bets, the ones that really paid out, and have always been when I really was like, I'm betting on this person.
Mm.
Interesting. I guess I
That's
said
never
that
going to
because
change.
okay, that's what I was about to ask you. That's going to change because we're going into this untraveled time to where we've never had this. I mean, this is completely new to humanity. The wheel on a wagon was the same for 1,500 years, and we just started flying 100 years ago. So things are just changing so fast to where you're saying that that's never going to change. Placing your bets on people, not just depending on Jarvis later on to just do everything, or you know what I mean? Because I hear so much talk about things, and it's just interesting to ponder and think about.
Oh, sorry.
I mean, look, in the end, who's building the startup is the person. Who's the founder? You always bet on the founders. The founders define what the rest of the team's going to be like. Or founding team, that defines what the rest of all the employees are going to be like. You bet on people. I mean, there'll eventually be companies that are only AI agents, but that's a whole different thing. That's a whole different
Got
conversation.
it. Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, of
Maria,
course.
you have your hand up.
Yes, I wanted to ask, Kamal, in your opinion, what is the number one key differentiator between bots and humans?
That's a hell of a question. I mean, look, humans can create in a way I don't think bots will be able to. Humans can take ideas, abstract concepts in a way, and pull out a new theory of physics out of it that never existed. There was no basis for it, right? Do things like that that the bots don't. They can't. It's like Einstein when he was coming up with the theory of relativity. Um, Literally was like walking and asking himself this question he was like imagining himself. He literally used to imagine himself riding a bicycle. And he said, what if I'm riding a bicycle at the speed of light and then I think they used to call it torch, and then I turn the light on, the torch on. How fast does that light go? If I'm already going at the speed of light, right? Where does it go? What happens? And that led to, some the stuff he came with. Like that bots can't do. That level of that creative thinking that the mind can do. They can't. They just can't. They can put things together and create new things or whatever, but it's more random and based on previous data, right? But they can't come up with something that didn't. They can come up with garbage that didn't exist before, but they can't come up with like, oh my god, I'm thinking of this, and boom, suddenly a new branch of physics just opened up.
Interesting. Right? I can't imagine.
Yeah, what a beautiful example.
Imagination
too.
is a superpower as human beings.
I really love that. That's the power of honestly tapping into. Not to get woo at all, but being able to kind of access that little kid in you, because that's where creation and imagination really was leveraged, was in childhood. So I love that, because my initial answer had been creation, but I'm just watching so much creation happen. But I think the imagination aspect is really, thank you.
The creation that's happening is in a playing field that already exists. They're taking A and B and C and jamming it together and coming at D. But it's all the stuff that exists. Imagination takes things that they never existed before and create something out of that. Like that, the human imagination has done that throughout history, right? Most of the greatest inventions were just leaps of fancy, right? And so that, but now if you want to sit there and you have something, you want to crunch numbers in a way that a human mind can, and come up with new drugs based on previous drugs and what you know about how DNA works. Like, I mean, AI will beat human beings all day long. But to come up with the concept of DNA, like that, I don't think. Well, then again, DNA was actually just eventually figuring out based on lab research. So I think I like the physics analogy better. Where they literally come up with these greatest scientists were philosophers, dreamers, like, they came up with stuff with their imagination. And that you can't replicate with bots.
So good. Thank you.
You're
How
welcome.
are we doing in terms of testing your patience? Do you mind a couple more?
No, 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 this is fun. I mean, me, I'm just usually working, so this is fun.
Yeah, you're amazing, man. All right, we've got Dylan up and Clinton's after him.
I hope it's useful.
Bro, I'm gonna beat a drum and I'm gonna put you on the spot and I'm gonna piss you off and I'm so sorry. I've been telling this dude since I met him. I think the second phone call I ever had with Kamal, I was like, dude, why don't you have a podcast? If Kamal Ravikant had a podcast, who here would be listening to the damn thing, right? Like you're just so good at it. You take this, you're just good at it. For whatever it's worth, you got a ubiquitous vote for Kamal's
I'll
podcast.
come on your podcast. How's that?
Bro, I'll produce it. I'll pay for it. I'll run it. I'll hire an EA to manage it. You show up and you talk. I think it would change the world. I think you'd kill it. For whatever it's worth.
Okay.
Dylan, you're up.
I can give a better example for my question before, and if we don't feel it's valuable, we can quickly move on. But I have
This is
after
the principles question.
principles and antiquated ideas. So after we had that discussion, I did a Gemini deep research on it, and I'm sharing the document in the chat. It is mostly uninteresting, other than the antiquated ideas thing. But one of the possibilities it proposed is if most or all junior positions are being automated by AI, then the juniors can never become the seniors organizing all of the automation. And so we could return to a master apprentice style where a promising junior prospect is in close proximity to the senior person who is managing all of the AI, and that is how they learn to become that person. Otherwise, in the near future, we will have a lack of talent that is able to manage teams of agents and all of that. So that is an example.
That's an interesting use case. That'll figure itself out. If you have a company, you're building a company, you want to be able to, you don't want to lose your IP if one person is gone.
You know what it
That'll
reminds
figure
me of?
itself out.
It reminds me of the I hope this isn't incendiary, but it reminds me of the Chinese limitation on the number of babies that the population could have. So they limit the number of children that people can have. Everybody wants a boy for whatever reason, and so people start aborting and or not having girls. And then you flash forward a generation later, and there aren't you don't have what you need from a societal perspective in order to move forward. So I think what Dylan just pointed out, it's such an interesting problem that we're not building apprentices because AI does all that work. So in 20 years, what does that mean? The pool of apprentices would have become our pool of triple PhDs. And I absolutely agree with you. I think it'll figure itself out, but it does feel like it's almost a problem that feels like an opportunity if you could find a way to bridge that gap.
One thing I will add to that, but a couple of years from now, what you think of managing AI will be very different. What you're managing now, you won't need to. So what are you going to be managing? Just telling it what to do, giving it overall, not even a plan. This is the solution I want. This is the implementation I want. So even that is going to transform. So I don't think that master apprentice thing, actually, as I think about it, master apprentice works if the trade doesn't change. You're a blacksmith, you're a physician, you're whatever, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't really change that crazy. Still, iron is iron. You got to make the fire. You got to bang on the sword, right? With AI, I mean, it's so I think even that's no longer relevant because what are you going to train people on that will be completely different a year from them? I think it's going to be more you just got to be a creative person, and now you got the best tool ever designed to do what you wanted to do.
Well, yeah,
Christopher
maybe
just posted that in chat. He said generalists survive. That's the drum I've been beating is generalists.
Interesting.
Yeah. Jason.
Yeah.
So I was just gonna say, maybe the new apprenticeship is the human stuff we've been talking about, and it's diving even deeper to Christine Marie's point of that humanness
Yeah.
being so critical. And now it's just going to get even more critical because that's the thing I posted about Nate B. Jones. He had just a great, it wasn't anti-AI by any means. He's deep in it. He was bringing up the point of how important context from a human still is. Great. All these agents are doing all this stuff. Who's looking at it going, is this right? Is this the direction we're going? So there's still that need. And to Dylan's
Today,
point, though,
today,
it is
tomorrow there might be an AI version of you doing that.
Mhm.
true.
Like we're talking
Maybe
about
I'm
today's
building that AI
technology,
version of me too.
right?
You know?
Yeah. Today, I mean, that's the problem, right? With AI, unlike most other stuff in the past, we can't extrapolate on what it's going to be like a year from now based on how it was a year ago.
Mhm.
That's the problem, right? And that's what makes it so interesting.
Yeah, we broke Moore's law already. I was watching that guy, something Wasser Grossman, the genius AI gentleman. And Moore's law says that machine computing doubles every 18 months. And he's like, we broke that about right when ChatGPT launched. It's just not a reliable rubric anymore. Clinton, you have your hand up?
Yeah. So I'm in and out of school all the time, and I've got a wave of younger relatives looking at school. If you had a kid, which you may, of course,
I
what
don't.
would
I have a dog.
okay. So hypothetically, what would you suggest they study?
I wouldn't tell them to go to college. I think college is done. Um, College, those 4 years are wasted in those classes that are irrelevant. Um, that who's coming out of college prepared for the modern world? I mean, a lot of these, unless you want to go and party for 4 years and just make friends, right? Or you want to go say be a physician, but outside, like something that still requires a level of certification and just hands-on experience, right? That you can't get away from. Um, or you want to learn physics, but even things like that, you can probably have a better AI teacher than you will have professors in college. And this is not something I thinking. A lot of smart people I've talked to us have thought this way for even before AI came on the scene.
Yeah.
Because just the way it's like college is at this point become a vanity metric, and to put yourself in that level of debt for a vanity metric that is no longer relevant. Like I can't remember the last time any startup I know was hiring someone based on their at least early founding team, based on where they went to school, unless it really was like they were looking for like specific kind of engineers or whatever, PhDs in AI. Um, but outside of that, I think most college is and look, I went to college, right? At a time where like you had to if you wanted to create a life like where you wanted to do well. That time is long gone.
One of
You
my
can
clients is the
literally you had the
largest.
best team. Sorry?
Oh, I didn't mean to interrupt you. Come on, I'm sorry.
No, you got the best teachers in the world teaching you on YouTube right now. You just have to be self-motivated. College for people who are not self-motivated.
Hmm.
If you're self-motivated, um, the world's your oyster. You got the learnings there, plus you got the tools to build whatever you want. I remember it was like such a common thing, always like, oh, I want to raise money. I have the idea. I'm looking for a technical co-founder. Every time you hear those, you're like, oh, you mean okay? You have the idea, but you want someone to do the work, which is where it really counts. Everyone's got an idea, right?
Yeah.
And now you don't need that. I got an idea, great. I can use Claude to build it. I can like ship a fully formed project, right? Uh, so you don't need. So I think honestly, like if you're anyone young coming up, I would encourage them, or I would make them be self-starter or self-motivated, or learning things, and then slowly building things from there. And they'll do very well financially enough by the time they're 18, 19, and they wouldn't want to go to college.
Mm,
Hmm.
good
Thank you.
answer. Yo, I gotta bounce in 5 minutes because I have the two best little boys in the whole world, and I'm gonna go pick them up. So I think Elliot and Jacob, I'm gonna lock the questions with the YouTube being the last two, if that's okay, and then save me a minute because I just have to do my housekeeping piece. Elliot, you go first.
Absolutely. Listen, I actually feel a little bit obnoxious asking this, but I was really inspired the other day by Jacob's show and tell, and you may remember, I I was talking about the logic engine that I've been working on for quite a few years for kind of foundational AI, and I actually put it by Dylan earlier today as well to make sure it might be useful to people. But what I was hoping to actually do is as I used Clinton's question earlier, to transform this into a literal 1 minute visual and a question of where Kamal thinks I should focus on using our system. So is that possible? If I could share my screen for 1 minute and then ask the question and
Let's
trying to
do
do
it. Yeah, Kamal,
essentially,
you game for that?
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Yeah.
you have a clock, right? 5 minute clock.
Yeah, we're gonna play a little Kamal Shark Tank right now.
but I wanna, oh my God, no, don't do that to me.
No,
Don't do that to me,
I'm not.
man. I
I'm
wanted
not.
to,
I'm
yeah,
not that
yeah,
guy. I don't respect
okay,
how they do things on that show. They take advantage of entrepreneurs.
Mm,
Uh,
cool.
you know,
Well,
the terms they give. Yeah.
let me not waste anyone's time. So essentially, my business partner in this, Alan, has been studying AI for 20 years or so. And what we've built is, you'll know this, Kamal, but Palantir's ontology system. What we've been working on is a way to automate that process and not have to have manual engineers build that inside companies. And ultimately, what we're trying to build out is an automated system where companies can upload their policies in the documents they already have it in from their legal departments as well. And it builds using this custom logic that we've created from the ground up. It builds this hierarchical system that the LLM, this is not an LLM in and of itself. It uses multiple models, multiple custom models, but the concept is quite clean. The concept is to eliminate hallucination, right? In the exact same way Palantir's ontology system does with, the military and other really, really high risk utilizations of AI. So my question to you, given that I'm trying not to use more than 2 minutes, is what industries do you think we should focus on that need this kind of lower cost? Because you see inside some of these deals that, I'm not really close to. What industries do you think are in most need for these kind of guardrails at the moment?
I think healthcare seems to be an obvious one.
mm,
I mean, there's people coming out with AI physicians, AI this, AI that, all healthcare. Or I think healthcare is an obvious one.
And is that where you
And
see the most trouble in terms of implementation?
no, because now you're talking later stage, like big companies. I don't play in that world. I play
Okay.
in the, okay, when someone's starting something to build something, you know, that's my world. Like that, what are they thinking of building for the future? This is like by the time like something's gone big and a big company needs it, where that's not my wheelhouse. But I can just think of things I've come across, right, where people are building stuff. Healthcare seems to be a very obvious one, where you can't have that kind of hallucinations,
mm.
right? Um, so things that are where the cost of a hallucination is expensive, and you can define expensive in many different ways. It doesn't have to be dollars and cents. That there,
Okay,
like
fantastic. Well,
obviously, like in war, for example, like Palantir is doing, right? The
yeah.
cost is expensive. You know, the wrong target or whatever.
And that's
So
really our goal, is just bring down that cost for everybody. We've made it
yeah,
interoperable for that reason. But thanks for that. We haven't really looked too deeply into healthcare. I'm trying to hit the low-hanging fruit, like chatbots giving away 90% discounts they shouldn't be first, right? But we are working towards that. We just signed with some guys in Korea that do all the braking and stuff with Anthropic and a few of the other labs. So yeah. But anyway,
great.
I get rid of the rest of my time so Jacob can quickly have his. So sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, Jacob, last question to you.
Don't apologize. I think you need to go, don't you? I just put in the chat. I can ask my question to you tomorrow. I mean, if I think long enough through what we talked about, I probably have an answer for it anyways. So
No, fire it off, dude. We're ready.
okay, so it sounds like there's a lot of stuff that's changing really quickly, but there are certain human needs that do not change. Sewage, water, these kind of things. So would you, knowing what you know now and knowing how AI is taken over, is it better to invest your money, time, and everything into a service-based business and amplify it and grow and dominate the industry, if you will? Or are you investing in businesses that are, Steve Jobs kind of things? They're changing, or we don't know if it's valuable or not, and it's just kind of betting on that.
Was that for Kasim or me?
That's for you. I was gonna ask Costin this question tomorrow because we're running
Yeah,
late
we
on
want
time.
your
I didn't
answer,
want.
Kamal. Where I'm investing my money is, you want to lose money, follow me into the market. That's a great way.
No, if you want to build a business from the ground up, you could build this stuff for service business. I think there's a lot of opportunity there. But
Mm,
there's always been since websites came out. I remember like people early on were just making websites for small businesses. They were going knocking on doors and say, I'll make you a website and charging them a lot of money and to maintain it and whatever. Now people still do that using Lovable, right? They make a website lovable, going to people and saying, hey, I can make you a better website. So that hasn't changed. Now you can do the same for you pick a niche and with the small business owners who don't have time to think about it, but they think they need it and they do need it. Build something easy and valuable for them, and then you get subscription model, and you got them right, and you can always continue to upgrade it using AI, and so that is if you want to put the time in for the boots on the ground to talk to small business owners and get them bought in, that's a good business. But what I focus on, I run a venture fund, so my deal is I'm looking for something that's going to be worth billions and billions and going to change things. And I've been lucky enough to invest in some of those. And so that's what I'm looking for.
Okay, thank you
Right.
so much.
So my metric is very, very different. And like I'm looking for what's going to be the next platform, what's going to be the next whatever, but I'm also investing a lot of hardware and so forth because I see where things are going and what's going to be more valuable. But even that, it's got to be that big. I turn down things that are great, but I don't think they're going to do as well.
I see. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kamal, dude, this was so special and so generous. I'm so grateful to you. How do we help you, man? Is there anything that, we've got a council here, a bunch of really smart folks. Is there something you're pointing at, something you need help with?
Dude, that's really special. No. This was fun. I'm always curious about what you're doing. Look, if anybody wants to like share, if they love yourself, share with the audience. Like, look, HarperCollins thanks you. I get a small royalty. But like one thing I feel bad about is I'm not a good promoter. But that book really has changed and saved so many lives. If you want to spread that in whatever best way you can, I'll be and just get my number from Qasim or get my email and just email and let me know how you do it. And I'll be very grateful.
I love that. We'll do that, man. I share that book often, and mostly just so I can tell people you're my friend, but also because I want to help them.
I think very, very, very highly of you.
Yeah, I love you a lot,
really,
man. Just so everybody knows,
here.
this was not planned. Me and Kamal were on the phone, and I was like, I gotta go. And he's like, well, what are you doing? And I was like, do you want to jump on a Zoom? And if you're watching this live and you're not in the Zoom room, this is why you show up to the Zoom room. Like, how many times do you have an opportunity to talk to, one of the world's greatest minds? So, Kamal, thank you for being here. If you're watching this, you can get the Daily Sigh delivered directly to your inbox. Go to dailysigh.ai. I'm coming to Austin if you want to hang out with me for a day. I'm actually visiting for medical reasons, but figured lemonade out of lemons. And so I'm doing an all-day event April 3rd. There's 4 seats left, I believe. You can go to my Facebook page if you want to sign up. It's $750, fully refundable if you don't have 100% ROI by lunch. I love y'all. I mean it. I appreciate you. For everybody who showed up live, which I'm actually having a hard time with the list. I'm not going to be able to read it all because I don't have time. But Raina, Steve, B. Sherman, Philip, Waleed, Dre Redfern, what's up, man? One of the world's greatest CMOs is watching me live. That's awesome. Tommy, Jocko, I think. I don't know. I'm so sorry. I've got to go. I've got little babies, but I love y'all. Kamal, you're the man, dude. I owe you big. Appreciate the council, Jacob, Elliot, Brandon, Grant, Dylan, Clinton, Jason, Christopher. Thanks for always showing up and being so consistent, guys. Love you a lot. Every day, every weekday, 6 p.m. Eastern, right here. We're going to go try to solve all the problems of the world.